Okay, so I'm just gonna say whoa to this video that I'm about to share with you from Auntie Colette. Wait until you hear this. Your mind is about to be blown.
They really do just love shoving it right in our face now, don't they? Or as many speculate, they have to. They have to tell us what they're doing before they do it. How many times now is it that The Simpsons have literally portrayed massive events, world-changing events, in their cartoon episodes, many of which these episodes air decades and decades before the event actually happens? 30, maybe more? Well, The Simpsons aren't the only ones, letting us know years in advance what to expect. Like this magazine cover from The Economist, titled A Rough Guide to Hell. Ooh, it's a special holiday double issue. Geez, thanks. Anyone else think that it's strange that it's their holiday issue that they chose to make completely satanic with devils and hell and pitchforks and yeah, 'tis the season? But before I walk you through this cover of this magazine, this eerie projection, prediction, whatever you want to call it, of a magazine cover, I'd like to introduce you to the owners or partners, partial owners of the magazine called The Economist. The Rothschild. Shocked face. And before we start delving into the different specific items on this cover, I'd like to draw your attention to the year that this was published. 2012. Christmas double issue. Again, yeah, that's very Christmassy. And the fact that that cover was made 11 years ago? One specific item on this cover will shock you, and so I'll get to that last. But on this cover, they outline the 7 deadly sins, and some very familiar faces along the way, which again, we will go through one by one. Let's start with lust. I'm not really sure who this guy is, so if any of you guys might recognize him, please let me know. And since Auntie's never really been huge on politics, I had to enlist the help of Uncle Mike for recognizing some of these faces. So I might not even say their names right, but Uncle Mike thinks that this is the General David Petraeus? Petraeus? I don't know. We bring you lust, the first sin that we're going through of the 7. Coming in at a hot second, we have gluttony. Apparently, America and oil. Again, politicians and politics are my weak spot. I thought that might be Pelosi. I don't know. But Uncle Mike thinks it's the Chancellor of Germany, Angela Merkel. Sloth is laziness, especially in things like business. Moving on to greed, we have bankers going in what looks like mine carts for a coal mine maybe. But what I find suspicious is the mountain cave, the opening of the cave. Seems to look an awful lot like, I don't know, the mouth of a giant. Many of us are aware that a lot of our mountains do look like petrified giants now, don't they? Food for thought. And now there's envy. Had to enlist Uncle Mike's help here too, but he thinks this is a French leader, Macron. We have no idea who that is, maybe Mitt Romney. And there's the old Republican elephant next to the potential Mitt Romney, giving the old side eye to Obama himself. Which brings me to Obama. This one is interesting to me because the one sin that they chose to use Obama for, to represent, was the same sin, the one sin that was ultimately the cause of Lucifer's demise. The one sin that got Lucifer booted out of heaven? Pride. Yeah. Which if you saw my video about the Antichrist a few weeks ago, you might understand why Auntie is now scratching her head. I mean, isn't every American president full of pride? So why Obama? Right now, more than ever, people are trying to figure out who is the Antichrist, because it does feel like we are apparently in those times, the end days. So people are trying like crazy to decipher and figure out who the Antichrist might be. I did a video a few weeks ago that explained perhaps Jesus actually gave us his name in the Bible, in Luke 10:18. This was Jesus speaking. And he said unto them, I beheld Satan as lightning fall from heaven. Other translations are, I saw Satan fall like lightning from heaven. Now remember guys, the Bible has been translated from Greek into English, and Yeshua, Jesus, actually spoke Aramaic, the oldest form of Hebrew. So what are the Hebrew words for lightning and heaven? Now remember, with heaven, they actually consider that great heights. The great heights of worship is the same as heaven. Well, let's check it out. The Hebrew word for lightning, barak. Oh my. And the Hebrew word, you guessed it, for great heights, also meaning place of worship, like heaven, bama. And with Hebrew, they use vowels like U or O. That would be a U or an O as conjunctives to tie two words together. Knowing that, if we were to read that scripture the way that Jesus would have said it in Aramaic, and I beheld Satan, Barak, O, Bama, did Jesus literally give us the name of the potential Antichrist? It does seem odd that they would choose him out of all of history to represent the one sin of Satan, pride. Now moving on to the one that's going to make your skin crawl. Full body chills, and not in the good way. The last of the 7 sins, wrath. Guys, remember this magazine cover was made in 2012, their Christmas edition. Yeah. So how is it possible that wrath not only is portrayed by 2 people that is all up in the news right now, but also something very, very eerie depicted in this picture as well, making it almost impossible to cite it off as coincidence. There it is, folks, wrath. And don't worry, I'll zoom it in a little bit better so you can see it. But this one on his helmet says Hamas, and clearly you can see that is Netanyahu with the Israeli flag on his. The part, for me at least, that is the most bone-chilling about this depiction of Hamas and Israel, Netanyahu, see it clearly says Hamas, is this, the fact that they are hang gliding. Just like they did when they invaded that concert, the concert out in the desert where Hamas parachuted in, invading an open area concert, a brutal attack on innocent festival goers in Israel. Doesn't that seem oddly suspiciously specific? 11 years later. But outside of the 7 deadly sins on this magazine cover, there's more. So let's run through that too. Here we have India and China shoveling coal, all while Satan himself stands here next to this machine. What does that say? Climate change? That's odd, but not as odd as Satan himself holding this exact magazine in his hand. Same cheerful Christmas edition as well. We have multiple little devils here on computers, on the internet, and one, it says Hacker Center. This one took me a second because at first I thought it was Ronald Reagan, but now I have to say, guys, it's obviously Simon Cowell. Because look at the X's, the 3 judges, and there's a devil there singing for Mr. Cowell. We've got the apparent downfall of America, Wall Street, the Capitol, and what appears to be ancient Greece, where democracy was born. And in hell, we also, it looks like, have the Parliament. And right there is the center of the government of England itself. And it appears the whole dang thing will be down there in hell. Another of England's finest appears to be heading that way as well. British journalists. We know that tabloids can be brutal, but nowhere near as bad as the ones in Britain. Whew, they're rough. But don't worry, they'll have company. Again, I had to enlist the help of Uncle Mike. I mean, not with that one. That one I knew real quick. Hello, Putin. There's old Kim Jong-un with his little missiles that he likes to play with. Omar Gaddafi, Iranian president. Uncle Mike had to help me with this one. Someone's going to have to help me with the name because I know I'm going to butcher it. Mohammed Ahmadinejad. And according to Uncle Mike, that is the Syrian president, Assad. Yeah, so there you have it, guys. The Economist. Christmas Holiday Edition from 2012, named A Rough Guide to Hell. Wow, just wow. Here's the whole cover again for you if you'd like to pause, screenshot, so you can look at it yourself. The Economist's choice for their Christmas edition, 2012. Wow.